Well, Rado, heading into the last game of the season, and once again, sort of in a situation where you've got the luxury of being able to do what you want without having to worry about permutations on the table. You've said you want to play your strongest lineup against the Wanderers. Are you on track to do that?
Yes, of course. We always want to try to put the strongest side on the field. But again, as I said earlier, we need to look after some of the players, and some of them just did not manage to get over the minimum limit that we have for them to maybe to start. So some of them will be on the bench and then come off the bench in the second half, mainly by looking after them and preparing them for the preliminary finals.
When you say didn't meet the minimum, is that Matt and Richard will have to come off the bench?
Probably not Richard. But obviously Valon was the one who we are still looking, his response today. And we are probably Lecky. We are still waiting to see how he's going to pull up today. So after today's session, we'll make a little bit better. We'll have a little bit better understanding on where they are. But unfortunately, they are not where we were hoping for them to be for this game. So then priority becomes the game in 2 weeks. So we may have to adjust their involvement in the game tomorrow.
Rado, sorry, you go, Joe. Okay. Jamie McLaren made some history on the weekend, a hat-trick, all-time greatest A-League goal scorer. I guess, what does that record mean to him and to the club as a whole?
Look, it's he was over the moon. I mean, all his family were over the moon. I mean, he has been a fantastic player for us. As I said, he's a predator, and he doesn't need too many chances to score a goal. We watched Manchester City this morning. Haaland had 4 great opportunities to score 1 goal. So all these best goal scorers, they need service, and Jamie, I think he's lucky that he gets enough good service here at our club, and I think he's rewarding everyone else for that service with goals and with 3 points, and we are so happy to have him here, and there's much more to come from him in the future.
I mean, having seen him up close for a little while, coaching him now, how does he do this? How does he always seem to be in the right place at the right time when the ball drops? Is it something you talk about in training sessions, or is it just this kind of natural, innate ability that he has to just anticipate where it's going to end up?
I think that's the big difference between a striker and probably the striker. And I think he's the other one, the striker. He makes he knows takes him where he should be. He's got this unbelievable anticipation. He can read the opponent's movement. Sometimes you think he can read their mind. And he's always in the right area. Okay, maybe he didn't score every chance he had, but no one can do that. But to score so many goals so frequently, it just tells you that he is absolute superb striker. He spent a lot of time practicing after training. During the training, in small-sided games, that's what he loves to do. He's constantly in or around the penalty box in those games. He's so sharp. His movement is crisp. Is unbelievable. And we kind of nurture that within our training program. But what he's got is that he's got ability to anticipate and take those right positions. And then once in those positions, you can see his finishing is unbelievable. He can score goal with left foot, right foot, inside of foot, laces, headers. You name it. I think he scored with his chest the other day, or with his thigh, or whatever. So being in the right position, I think that's his biggest quality. And then finishing is, just something that's natural for him.
Rado, we're just speaking to Matt Leckie, who's obviously, as you mentioned, working back to full fitness. What does getting him back do for you? What different dimension does he bring to this City attack that maybe gives you more of a feeling that you can go all the way?
Oh, look, I mean, he's probably one of the best, if not the best player in the A-League. And we missed him, we felt that he did not play. Our attack was not as fluid as we were with him. So to get him back, is going to be much easier for us to create chances. Probably easier to score goals. And then also, he's got this unbelievable defensive quality to win the balls, to break the attacks from opponent, and to put us into good transition moments, into attack. But as I said, he's not there yet, so we just need to make sure that we'll see how he goes today. And he had a day off yesterday, so we'll see how he goes today, and we'll make our minds on how much does he play? Does he start, or does he come off the bench? So those are little things that we need to decide today.
Do you feel like he'll be on track for starting in finals?
Fingers crossed. Yeah, he's supposed to play a little bit in Gosford, but that didn't happen. And he's supposed to start last week. That didn't happen. So he's a little bit behind, but what we can afford now is to give him all the time that he needs, because, as you said, these games are important, but not as important that maybe they could have been. So we got this luxury that we can ease injured players into the starting 11 and give them as much time as they need. We're planning to have a game on next Friday, internal game, so hopefully we can have all of them playing in that game and give them that intensity, match intensity. It will be a training to prepare them for the semi-finals. Don't forget, we got two semi-finals, one away, one at home, before the grand final, and there's a possibility of extra week off after that, so that most of them should be ready for it, unless something goes wrong at training or at the games.
Rado, you've got the Wanderers tomorrow, and flashing back to an earlier time you played them, where you hammer and tong at the door, and took something special from Richard to get through. A frustrating day, but I think I also remember you saying that was one of the best performances you've seen from the side during your tenure. I mean, I guess coming into this Friday night, looking to gear up for finals, do you think you're in a better place now to start turning some of these chances you're getting into goals against what is the league's best defence?
Look, they have done really, really well this year. I think they brought in 3 or 4 new players in January. They brought in some world-class players in their lineup. It took them a little bit of time to gel in. It's not easy to come and play in Australia, but I think now, last game against Wellington, they were unbelievable. All their top guns were firing on all cylinders. They got this specific way of playing. They got speed to the middle with Borrello. They got speed on the side, and then also they've got unbelievable back line with fantastic goalkeeper. Not to talk about the midfield. Their midfield is top notch. So, they are one of the key players in this finals. So it's going to be a tough game, but it's a good challenge for us. We're playing at home, and we'll try to make it as hard for them as possible. I'm really looking forward to see where we are at the moment against one of the better teams in the A-League.
Right, just mentioned the Wanderers defence. Your defence this season isn't that bad either. I mean, I think you're on track right now to have the best defensive record of any team in Melbourne City / Melbourne Heart history, if my examination of the stats are right. And you've done that despite having to cycle a lot of different players throughout that back four because of injury or just adjustments. Do you think your defensive fortitude flies under the radar? Because we're all talking about, Jamie McLaren and Matthew Leckie up front.
Look, I mean, we consciously defend as high up the field as possible. Excuse me. So we do leave some space behind our back line, on the halfway line. We worked really hard to... Hang on just a second. We worked very, very hard to defend, to protect our goal when we are defending deep. And I think, we are getting better and better at that. With the quality of the players that we've got, not just in the starting 11, but the ones on the bench, I think we got luxury to, have one or two injuries or rest one or two if they needed to be rested. And you don't really feel the big difference in it. But yeah, tomorrow is going to be a good test for us, and as I said, I'm really looking forward to see what we can do at home against one of the informed teams in the competition, because there's a strong possibility, that we may play against them in that semi-final, and that the second game may be at home. Sorry, in the preliminary final.